everybody. Yep, I'm back. And time to do a top 10 list for you all. This time I'm going to be talking about comedy films again. Instead of talking about comedy films I like, however, we're going to be talking about comedy films that I hate. That's right, people. This list is going to be relying on my most hated comedy movies. The movies that just don't make me laugh at all. The movies that are just downright bad to me. Just personally, the films I really don't like at all. So, we're going to go ahead and get this list started. I really have not much else to say. These are my top 10 least favorite comedies. They're unfunny, they're just not good to me, they honestly suck. So, let's take a look. Ghostbusters from 2016. Does anybody remember this movie existed? I really don't think we should. The 2016 version of Ghostbusters had no reason to exist. It was made after the third Ghostbusters film got cancelled, so they decided to just remake it for some reason, having them all be females. When I first heard about a new Ghostbusters, I got excited. When I heard it was going to be a remake, I got less excited. When I heard the cast, I got even lesser excited. The trailer got me less and less excited, and I barely wanted to see it. But then I decided to go ahead and see it, and I regretted every bit of it. It sucks. Comedy in this movie just doesn't work. It tries to make all of its characters have dumb personalities as well as dumb moments, instead of just relying on the actual story. It just tries to focus on random skits for the sake of randomness. It even gets worse with the extended version. Thankfully, they didn't continue, and we finally got a true sequel to the franchise, so hopefully this movie never catches on anytime soon. Just doesn't look. The Flintstones sequel in Viva Las Vegas. The first Flintstones live-action movie was not very good, but it wasn't the worst. It had a fine cast in some ways, and did at least do some good to the original cartoon of the Flintstones. But then you have this sequel that serves as a prequel, showing how they got their family more. It's really not that good. It has many problems. It's obviously dumb in many ways. Tries to introduce new characters and show off new sets, which sounds fun, but it focuses way too much on cartoon cheesiness, and that's the problem I have with most sequels to these live action remakes of cartoons. The sequel always tries to have more cartoon style to it to try and be more faithful, but it just kind of ends up making it feel more stupid to me. That's the perfect example with this movie. It adds more cartoon nonsense, just making it more stupid with the way it was. I really don't have much else to say about this movie. It's a dumb movie. It's cartoon cheesy, but not in a good way. Now, I'm going to be honest with you people. You're probably not going to like this. I did not like the original Dumb and Dumber film. Yep, I said it. Dumb and Dumber just didn't make me laugh. I'm sorry, I just didn't like it. So why would I watch this film? Well, I was in the zone. I had to go ahead and watch it, so I did. I just wanted to see how much worse it could get. Wonder what could happen. Why would I, though? The problem? Oh, what's the problem? The problem being that, first off, Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels aren't in it. It was bad enough they weren't able to pull off a good performance for me in the first movie, so let's just get rid of them entirely. That'll be fine. And now we have these two young stories that try to tell us an origin story of the two. But again, it relies on too much cartoon cheesiness when it really shouldn't. It's just too cheesy for its own good. It does not have fun to me. And for someone who really didn't care much for the comedy in the first Dumb and Dumber, I don't know why I watched this one. But I avoided the second one that we got after, so there's that. You ever heard of this movie? Yeah, you probably shouldn't. The only reason I saw this movie was because it was back in elementary school. You ever been to elementary school where teachers decide to play a movie for us when we have nothing to do, but the movie always ends up being something stupid? Well, this is one of them. Kazam. What's it about? Imagine the famous basketball player Shaquille O'Neal, who plays a genie that only talks and raps. Yeah, that. You thought Will Smith's portrayal of the genie was bad? Wait till you see this. This was so bad in many ways. It's a family comedy that tries to rely on making rap humor, where this genie only talks in rap. That is just fair enough horrible to think about. It's annoying, of course, and it just leads to a story that does not amuse us any at all. You just get annoyed from it entirely. It's rappers. I'm not gonna say I don't like rappers, but having an entire movie where that's all he does, it gets annoying, and it is just as annoying as it is for this movie. Freddy Got Fingered. Where do I begin with this movie? Freddy Got Fingered is the story of a man played by Tom Green who is crazy in many ways. I guess crazy people can make for some funny movies, like look at Jim Carrey, for example. But Tom Green is a Jim Carrey wannabe, but not in a good way. Tom Green has had a stand-up comedy career for a while, but most of his comedy never really caught on to many people. I don't know. It was mostly just me, however. Personally, I don't really think Tom Green is that funny. And this movie proves just how terribly unfunny he is. This movie tries to be funny, but it just ends up annoying you again. You just get annoyed from him more. It may seem nitpicky to get annoyed from him, yet enjoy Jim Carrey, someone like Jim Carrey, but they make it work because they're able to actually focus through the story. This guy just tries to focus on random things that have nothing to do with anything, and that just ruins it for all of us. Son of the Mask, and the original Mask movie. Speaking of Jim Carrey, yeah, Jim Carrey played an awesome character in The Mask. So why does this sequel exist when he didn't even get Jim Carrey at all? This sequel tries to focus on a new people, like Jamie Kennedy is now the new person who has to put on the mask, and he does terrible at it. This movie tries to be more kid-friendly, which again makes it more comic, cartoon cheesy, but that never works. Instead, this focuses on them having a baby who is born from the mask, so now the baby has the mask powers, but it just ends up making him creepy in many ways. This movie's creepy, that's what I can put it. It's a scary type of movie, and it's not the good kind of scary. It's not the kind of scary you see in most kids' movies that you can at least accept for, tending your senses. But for this movie, they're just trying to make you laugh, and they fail instantly. You don't laugh, you cringe. You just piss your pants. You do everything besides laugh, because this movie is just so annoying to focus on. You don't need... Why have a sequel to The Mask when you don't even have Jim Carrey? Like, come on. This is another movie I watched back in elementary school, Baby Geniuses. This was the original Boss Baby, essentially. We all know what the Boss Baby is. Well, this was apparently the original version, proving that the Boss Baby worked better as an animated movie. When you try to make a live-action movie about a bunch of babies who are intelligent, can speak, and can do secret mission stuff, what do you get? Well, you get terrible CGI and just a whole bunch of terrible humor towards it. And the worst part is it's not just the CGI for the babies that ruins it for us. It's all the humor they try to throw in outside of it. Like, there's humor in the movie that tries to make it a fun family comedy, but you're still just not laughing. So mix all the terrible CGI with all the terrible humor outside of it. You get a worse version of the Boss Baby. The Boss Baby if it was completely died down. Biodome. Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin. Are these two funny? Not really. Maybe some people find them funny, but for a movie like this, it's hard to believe that. These two are basically Dumb and Dumber, except they're even more unfunny. They talk in crazy, annoying voices. They do crazy, annoying things. The story just focuses on them stuck in a biodome where they're just messing around and stuff. That's literally what the entire movie is. I mean, yeah, they do kind of have that just in the middle, but a majority of the movie is just them doing crazy, weird stuff in the biodome, and it's not funny because their voices, just hear how they sound. They just really annoy you a lot, and the way they do things annoys you as well. They're essentially just if Dumb and Dumber were gay. That's a good best way to put it. You have the gay Dumb and Dumber. That's I guess where you can do it. I mean, I'm not saying gay people are bad. I'm not saying they're annoying. I'm just saying these people trying to be that are really annoying. Jack and Jill. Adam Sandler has its ups and downs. You have its ups like movies like Happy Gilmore or Wedding Singer, but then you have his downs with movies like this. Jack and Jill was released at a time when Adam Sandler was working for Sony, and Sony really wanted to profit on this dude by having him be in some of the most annoying type of movies ever. So how about a movie where he plays both himself and he has a twin sister also played by him? Is it like the Mrs. Doubtfire thing where the portrayal is good? No, because when you have it where he's actually a woman in actual time, not just pretending to be in the movie, it's actually a woman, it gets annoying. And you can see how Adam Sandler cannot pull off the woman role right. He can't sound like a woman, he can't be like a woman, he could just annoy you even more. I don't want to be annoyed by Adam Sandler. I'm sure he's great. Again, he's had his ups and downs. I mean, he's at his ups now. I mean, he has a lot of good stuff on Netflix, but throughout this time period, he's just been so beyond unfunny. And this movie proves it exactly, of course. You get annoyed from it right away. Just watch the trailer. You're instantly annoyed. That's all you need to watch the movie. Just watch the trailer. Because even that's going to annoy you. This is not only my least favorite comedy film of all time, this is what I consider the worst movie ever. I hate this movie the most out of any other film I have ever seen. I'm not kidding. Yes, I hate this movie that much. This movie is just so bad. Why is it bad? I'll tell you why. Apparently, this movie tries to be a story about a bunch of crazy pop culture characters from the time being going around during a disaster that occurs. The problem, this movie doesn't even focus on a story. It's just a couple of people who try to avoid a disaster but keep running into some famous pop culture character that was popular at the time. Like, for example, they run into characters like Batman, Iron Man, the Girl from Enchanted, Kung Fu Panda, Juno, High School Musical, Hannah Montana, Hellboy, Hancock, Hulk, Indiana Jones, and even Alvin and the Chipmunks. All those characters that were popular around 2007 and 8 appear in this movie just for a little cameo appearance, but each of those appearances go on for so long that you're just annoyed instantly. So many things go on so long that a movie feels even longer than it is. The movie just focuses on humor that pops up randomly and isn't funny if you are only watching because you know that character. It doesn't work. It's annoying in many ways. It's obnoxious in many ways. These characters just really upset you. You just have a story that doesn't even make sense. And I think it's best to say that this movie was called Disaster Movie for a reason. They definitely knew what they were doing. Obviously, it's just trying to be called Disaster Movie because it's a spoof of disasters. But first off, no, it's not. This movie doesn't even spoof disasters. It's just a story about a bunch of people escaping a disaster while running into famous characters. That's really the spoof. And it's not a good one. This is the movie that killed the parody genre. This movie killed parody film. Parody movies have not been good ever since. And it's fortunate because we've had good parody movies. We've had Airplane, Monty Python, Blazing Saddles. Those were all amazing. But thanks to movies like this, we no longer can have a parody movie that's funny or can actually work. You just end up with stuff like this, and that's honestly sad. So yeah, Disaster Movie is without a doubt my least favorite film of all time. It is just so horrible. It is definitely a disaster. Now I apologize if this video ran short. I had to do that because the last time I made a video it was too long and it wouldn't let me upload, so this is shorter. It's a shorter version, but you get the point. Those are my least favorite comedies. And guess what, people? I'm not done there. I'm not done there. We are going to be talking more and more about some bad movies, some of my least favorites. I want to show you all my least favorites. I've been talking a lot about some of my favorites of certain movies, but now let's look at my least favorites. So, for the meantime, you're going to be listening to me talking about some of the worst films I've ever seen. The movies I hate the most. And if you like them for some reason, then okay, that's fine. But I'm just saying, I want to start talking about some of my least favorites instead of just relying on just my favorites. It's always good to go back and forth, isn't it? It is.